Candyman, A Farewell to Flesh, the sequel to Candyman, which I reviewed forever ago, which you should totally watch before this, but if you're too lazy to, the movie recaps the first movie anyway. Candyman in life used to be an unpaid hard laborer in the US South, till he had relations with a white woman and then he got jumped. Also, Helen from the last movie went insane or something. The crowd is not pleased, so the author decides to go Bloody Mary on his very reflective book cover. And he gets attacked by Candyman. That was just a joke. But this guy, Ethan, does not like the joke, and this leads to a bar fight. But at the public bathroom, the author has the inevitable happen to him, revealing that Tony Todd did return to be Candyman. Which leads to us meeting the main character, Annie, and she's a teacher in New Orleans, and because it's a movie, it's always Mardi Gras. Woo! But this kid, Matthew, keeps drawing Candyman. And it turns out Ethan is Annie's bro, and he's pleading guilty to the Candyman thing with the author. And despite the fact that he confessed to the crime, even with lack of evidence that would mean he'll go to jail, Annie decides to try and save him. So she gets her hubby Paul, and they go to the old family estate, the abandoned plantation. But there's squatters there. Oh, and also a giant mural to Candyman. Doesn't seem that important right now. Time to get back to work. And Matthew keeps drawing Candyman. Inventing DeviantArt. Annie decides to put these Candyman rumors to rest by saying Candyman in the mirror. And nothing happens. Until later that night, and he finally shows up because he's slow. And he takes out Paul for reasons that made sense at the time, I guess. Just had to be there. And he tries attacking him, but he bleeds bees. Well, that's weird. She goes to bed. The next day, the cops are surprisingly not believing the whole Candyman phantom murder thing. Even Mom doesn't believe. Can't catch a break, man. And Candyman decides to kill off Mom, but it was just a dream. What would Freddy think about this? Matthew goes missing, so Annie decides to go see his dad. And Reverend reveals there's even more charcoal drawings. And he decides to see another artist, and it has a mysterious mirror in it. But under a white sheet, Candyman's there, which leads into a chase into the crowded streets of New Orleans. After that, Annie takes a shower, and it's revealed that she's preggo. So then she hits up the Reverend again, and they investigate the graveyard. And she starts putting together that she might be related to Candyman's girl. Meanwhile, Ethan's getting interrogated by the cops, and they do the whole thing in the mirror, and the inevitable happens. Whee! Ethan panics and tries running for it, but he gets taken out by the police. All of it was caught in film, but Candyman's invisible. Thanks to the new Google Pixel Magic Eraser. Mom doesn't want to believe that they're related to Candyman's girl, and she gets taken out, but she hits an alarm. Annie runs back to the plantation. She meets Ethan there and none of the squatters. She falls down and finds the mirror from the painting. And Candyman reveals that he's the man in the mirror, or at least his soul's trapped in it. And we get another recap of his backstory. This time actually visually, but with less nudity. And they call him Candyman because some weird kid licked some honey off of him. And the mirror is important because that's the last thing he looked into before he died. But being in New Orleans, it starts flooding. Annie makes it out okay. She smashes the mirror, which causes Candyman to fall apart and then explode into kind of bad CGI. Everyone makes it out okay. Happy ending. Final body count. 9, including Candyman. This is a very above-average sequel to a horror film. It tries continuing on from the original film, which is admirable. Tony Todd's always awesome, and I love his portrayal of Candyman. Just like the original, the soundtrack's amazing, and I like the unique setting. But it does kind of fall into stereotypical horror movie sequel trope of the killer just kind of starts randomly killing people, even though he used to have a motive. With Candyman usually only killing people who summoned him. But overall, I think this is a pretty good follow-up to the original. It definitely tried when a lot of other horror movie sequels don't. 7 out of 10.